everyone, and welcome back to the Where in the World series here on Go Westeros. In this episode, just like we did last time, we'll be looking at 3 minor houses of Westeros, what they've been up to, where in the world they are, and how they pertain to the overall story as it's being told. In the last episode, episode 14, we looked at houses Buckwell, Santagar and Good Brother of Hammerhorn. And this week, we'll be looking at House Flint of Widow's Watch from the north, House Hunter of the Vale, and House Smallwood of the Riverlands. At this point, I should mention that this does contain spoilers for all 5 novels of A Song of Ice and Fire, so if you're not up to date, I wouldn't continue on much further. I'm your host Jack, and let's dive right into it. Ever vigilant are the words of House Flint of Widow's Watch of the North. Their sigil is 2 eyes on yellow overwatching white-capped blue waves. According to the Wikipedia, they are most probably the most powerful branch of House Flint, despite House Flint of the Mountains, a mountain clan, claiming to be the oldest of the 3 branches. The other branch is House Flint of Flint's Finger. Their seat of Widow's Watch is located at the end of the peninsula between the Shivering Sea and the Bight, east of Ramsgate and the Broken Branch. Known Flints throughout A Song of Ice and Fire include Lady Lyessa Flint, the Lady of Widow's Watch, her grown son, who is likely the Lord of Widow's Watch, despite it never being explicitly stated, Robin Flint, and Sir Byam Flint, who is a member of the Night's Watch, although it's possible that Sir Byam is from one of the other branches, but because it's not explicitly stated, we should consider him in this episode. In history, it's been suggested that the Night's King was a Flint, among many other possibilities, among many other houses from the north. Lord Commander Roderick Flint is regarded as one of the worst Lord Commanders of the Night's Watch, because he actually tried to make himself king beyond the wall. That didn't turn out so great for him. One of the dark legends surrounding the Night Fort, the former centre of the Night's Watch, is the rape and murder of brave young Dany Flint. And Dany Flint was a girl that dresses up as a boy to become a member of the Night's Watch. In some versions of Brave Dany Flint, a famous song throughout Westeros, her ghost still walks the Night Fort. And Bran retells this story when he and the others are at the Night Fort, looking to go beyond the wall. After the Grey Starks lost the Wolf's Den, a branch of House Flint, possibly of Widow's Watch, might not be, but it very likely could be, held it for a century. It's very likely them because House Flint of Widow's Watch is nearer to White Harbour and the Wolf's End than any of the other branches. We are introduced to House Flint in A Game of Thrones after Robb Stark calls his banners after his father Eddard's arrest in King's Landing. Maester Luwin explains that while some houses, like the Karstarks, the Boltons, the Hornwoods and the Umbers, gather at Winterfell, other houses like the Reeds, the Risewells, the Dustins, the Manderleys and the Flints are waiting to join him on the King's Road. Robin Flint, the unsure Lord of Widow's Watch, is one of the 30 sons of lords that ride with Robb during the war. It's noted that he and Wendell Manderley are among the elder men in the group. In A Clash of Kings, the Flints are reported to have ties to House Hornwood, whom we've covered in the past, through the female line. However, it's also not stated which branch of Flint this is. The Flints of Widow's Watch excused themselves for not attending the Harvest Feast of Winterfell because Lady Lyessa Flint is heavy with child and there is a sickness at Widow's Watch. Robin Flint accompanies Lady Catelyn Stark south on her voyage to deal with Renly and Stannis Baratheon. After Theon Greyjoy has taken Winterfell, he spies a few banners of the Flints among the Northern Lords preparing to attack him. In A Storm of Swords, Robin Flint commands the rearguard during Robb's march to the Twins for the wedding of Sir Edmund Tully and Rosalind Frey. Robin is one of Robb's bodyguards during the wedding feast, sitting near him with the Small John Umber without drinking. Trying to stay on his guard there for sure. During the Red Wedding, which is rightfully so, Robin is seen surrounded by the Freys with their daggers rising and falling over him. It's very likely that he's dead. The Flint of Widow's Watch are not mentioned until Dance of Dragons, where they're mentioned sparsely. They spot Salador San's fleet as it's going north, and later they take lead from Lord Wyman Manderley of White Harbour. House Hunter of Longbow Hall are one of the principal noble houses sworn to House Arryn of the Vale. Their sigil is 5 silver arrows fanned out around a brown field. Their words are not known, and their seat of Longbow Hall is in the eastern part of the Vale. It is south of the Fingers, east of Hart's Home, and north of Old Anchor. Known members of House Hunter throughout A Song of Ice and Fire include the Lord Ian Hunter, an old man with gouty legs who has been ruling House Hunter for nearly 60 years. He is known as Old Lord Hunter. His son and heir, Gilwood, his second son, Eustace, and his third son, Harlan Hunter. A Janice Hunter is an unknown relation who is married into House Frey. The Hunters are of First Men origin. During the Andal invasion, they allied with King Robar Royce II against the Andals. It is said that Robar outshot the Lord Hunter in an archery contest to gain them as close allies, although the Hunters claim that he cheated. They were defeated at the Battle of the Seven Stars and submitted to King Artus Arryn, the first new King of the Mountain and Vale. Tiora Hunter married Artus Arryn's grandson, King Roland Arryn I, and became his queen. In A Game of Thrones, Lord Ian Hunter is seen by Tyrion Lannister at the Eyrie, staying there as one of the many suitors to the recently widowed Lady Lysa Arryn. Despite his age, Lord Ion offers himself as Lysa's champion in Tyrion's trial by combat. Elsewhere in the book and elsewhere in the world, Eddard Stark remembers that at the tourney of Harrenhal, Lord Hunter jousted with Jon Arryn and Robert Baratheon. Sort of showing his standing there in the world, I guess. Or the Hunter's standing, I should say. In A Song of Ice and Storm of Swords, I should say, Lord Ian Hunter dies suddenly. His eldest son, Gilwood, becomes the new Lord of Longbow Hall, but his 2 younger sons, Eustace and Harlan, accuse Gilwood of having murdered their father. Lord Ian reigned for nearly 60 years, as mentioned, before his abrupt death. In A Feast for Crows, Lord Gilwood Hunter is one of the 6 Lords Declarant. He is the last to arrive at the Gates of the Moon to block the food supplies into the Eyrie. Peter Baelish, the Lord Protector of the Vale, whom the Lords Declarant want out, considers that Gilwood is not a threat to him in the long term, since he predicts that Gilwood will soon be murdered by one of his younger brothers. According to Peter Baelish, Harlan Hunter, the youngest Gilwood son, was responsible for the old Lord Hunter's death. From these beginnings are the words of House Smallwood of Acorn Hall from the Riverlands. Their sigil is 6 brown acorns on a yellow field. They are sworn to House Vance or Wayfarer's Rest. Acorn Hall is a small castle with stone curtain walls and a large keep. It is located southeast of Riverrun, northeast of Pink Maiden, and north of Stony Sept. High Heart is nearby. Their lands are near those belonging to House Goodbrook. Known members throughout A Song of Ice and Fire include Lord Theomar Smallwood, his wife Lady Revella, originally of House Swan, whom we've covered in the past, and their daughter Corellin. Thorin Smallwood of the Night's Watch is of unknown relation to the main branch. A famous historical Smallwood was Miles Smallwood, who once served as Hand of the King. He was renowned for his courage, but is considered a disaster as Hand. During the Blackfire Rebellions, the Smallwoods supported the Targaryens. A knight of House Smallwood, who isn't named, killed Adam Osgrey at the Battle of the Redgrass Field. A Lord Smallwood travelled to White Walls to take part in the White Walls tourney. It's noted that his nephew breaks his wrist during the events, and this, of course, is the events of the Mystery Knight novella in the Tales of Duncan Egg. In A Game of Thrones, in the beginning of the War of the Five Kings, Lady Revella Smallwood sends their daughter Corellin to her great aunt at the Mother House in Old Town. In A Clash of Kings, Thorin Smallwood, as mentioned and under relation to the house, commands the Rangers of the Night's Watch after Sir Jeremy Riker's death. He is part of the Great Ranging that leaves Castle Black in search of wildlings beyond the wall. In A Storm of Swords, during the White attack on the Fist of the First Men, Thorin Smallwood is killed by a white undead bear. Elsewhere in the Riverlands, Lord Theomar Smallwood is off fighting with his liege lord Carl Vance when the Brotherhood Without Banners comes to stay at Acorn Hall. They are present at the Red Wedding, House Smallwood is, as Arya Stark spots a tent bearing the House Smallwood arms. It's not certain what happens to the Smallwoods, whether Theomar or anyone else is killed in the Red Wedding. And to round out their involvement in A Song of Ice and Fire, in A Feast for Crows, Sir Jaime spots their banners among those of the Riverlords who have bent the knee and now aid House Lannister in the siege of Riverrun. And as we wrap up on House Smallwood, we wrap up on this episode of Where in the World. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you found at least some of what I said helpful in your quest to gain as much knowledge of this world as possible. Remember to find me on Twitter at GoWesteros. Drop me a comment, a tweet, some advice, some criticism, or just say hello. I've been Jack, your host, and I'll see you all very soon.